What if I told you that one single drink could send your blood sugar skyrocketing to dangerous levels in just 15 minutes? If you're diabetic or know someone who is, you need to watch this video until the very end. I'm about to reveal the 10 most dangerous drinks for diabetics, and I guarantee that number 1 will absolutely shock you. Most people consume these drinks every single day without knowing the deadly risk they're taking. So buckle up, because this information could literally save your life. Coming in at number 10, we have regular sodas. And don't let this low ranking fool you, because these sugar bombs are absolutely devastating for diabetics. A single 12-ounce can contains between 35 to 40 grams of sugar. That's equivalent to eating 8 teaspoons of pure sugar in one sitting. But here's what makes it even worse. Sodas don't just contain regular sugar, they're loaded with high fructose corn syrup, which bypasses your body's natural sugar regulation systems and floods your bloodstream like a tsunami. Within minutes, your blood glucose can spike from normal levels to over 300 millimoles DL, putting you in immediate danger. The scary part? This isn't just about one spike. Every time you drink a soda, you're training your body to become more resistant to insulin. It's like forcing a key into a lock over and over until the lock breaks. Eventually, your cells stop responding to insulin altogether, making your diabetes much harder to control. Studies show that people who drink just one soda per day have a 26% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. But if you already have diabetes, that single can could trigger diabetic ketoacidosis, a life-threatening condition that sends thousands of people to the emergency room every year. The beverage industry spends billions convincing us that their products bring happiness, but for diabetics, they're a direct path to blindness, kidney failure, and heart disease. But if you think diet sodas are a safe alternative, wait until you hear what's coming at number 9. At number 9, we have one of the biggest traps for diabetics: diet sodas and zero sugar drinks. If you're drinking these thinking you're safe, you're making a potentially deadly mistake that could be sabotaging your health in ways you never imagined. While these drinks don't contain traditional sugar, they're packed with artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame K. Recent groundbreaking research reveals that these chemicals completely destroy your gut bacteria, the same bacteria responsible for regulating your blood sugar naturally. Here's the shocking truth. People who drink diet sodas regularly have a 67% higher chance of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who don't drink them at all. If you already have diabetes, these artificial sweeteners can cause unpredictable blood sugar spikes through mechanisms that scientists are still trying to understand. There's also something called the cephalic phase response. Just tasting something sweet triggers your pancreas to release insulin, even when there's no actual sugar present. This creates a dangerous roller coaster effect. First, your blood sugar drops too low, then rebounds sky high, leaving you feeling exhausted and craving more carbs. But here's the most disturbing part. These artificial sweeteners actually make you hungrier and increase cravings for real sugar. It's like your brain is being constantly tricked, always expecting sugar that never comes, driving you to eat more and more carbohydrates. Think fruit juices are healthier. Number 8 will completely change how you see these so-called natural drinks. Number 8 might surprise you because we're talking about fruit juices. Yes, even the fresh squeezed ones you make at home. This is where most diabetics get completely fooled, thinking they're making a healthy choice when they're actually drinking liquid candy. A single 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains 24 grams of sugar, nearly as much as a soda. But here's what makes fruit juice even more dangerous. It's been stripped of all the fiber that normally slows down sugar absorption. When you eat a whole orange, the fiber creates a time release effect for the sugar. But juice? It hits your bloodstream like a freight train. Even worse, most people don't stop at 8 ounces. The average serving size people actually drink is 16 ounces, which means you're getting 30-40 grams of pure fructose in one sitting. That's enough sugar to send a diabetic into hyperglycemic crisis. But it's natural sugar, you might say. Your pancreas doesn't care if the sugar comes from an orange or a candy bar. Sugar is sugar, and your body responds the same way. In fact, fructose is actually harder for your liver to process than glucose, leading to increased fat storage and insulin resistance. The fruit juice industry has spent decades convincing us that juice equals health. But for diabetics, a glass of orange juice can be more dangerous than a can of soda because people drink it thinking it's good for them. Sports drinks seem harmless enough for active people, right? Number 7 reveals why these performance enhancers are performance destroyers for diabetics. At number 7, we have sports drinks, those colorful beverages that promise to boost your performance and replenish your electrolytes. But for diabetics, these drinks are wolves in sheep's clothing, designed to fuel athletes who burn thousands of calories, not people managing blood sugar. A typical 20-ounce sports drink contains 34 grams of sugar. That's more than most sodas. The manufacturers market these as essential for hydration, but unless you're running a marathon, you're just consuming liquid sugar with a fancy sports label. Here's what makes sports drinks particularly dangerous for diabetics. They're specifically formulated for rapid absorption. The sugar blend is designed to hit your bloodstream as fast as possible to fuel intense exercise, but if you're not burning those calories immediately through vigorous activity, that sugar has nowhere to go except to spike your blood glucose to dangerous levels. The most insidious part is how these drinks are marketed. They're associated with health, fitness, and peak performance. Diabetics often drink them thinking they're making a better choice than soda, not realizing they're consuming just as much sugar, sometimes more. Many diabetics also make the mistake of drinking sports drinks when they feel low energy, not realizing that their fatigue might be from blood sugar fluctuations. Instead of stabilizing their glucose, they're adding fuel to the fire, creating even more dramatic spikes and crashes. The electrolyte excuse doesn't hold up either. Unless you're sweating profusely for hours, you can get all the electrolytes you need from food and plain water. Energy drinks are obviously bad, right? Number 6 shows why these caffeinated nightmares are even more dangerous than you think. Number 6 brings us to energy drinks, the caffeinated sugar bombs that are sending diabetics to the hospital at alarming rates. These drinks don't just spike your blood sugar, they create a perfect storm of metabolic chaos that can have life-threatening consequences. A single 16-ounce energy drink can contain up to 54 grams of sugar. That's more sugar than a diabetic should consume in an entire day. But the sugar is just the beginning of the nightmare. These drinks are loaded with massive doses of caffeine, often 3 to 4 times more than a cup of coffee. Here's why this combination is so deadly for diabetics. Caffeine increases insulin resistance, making it even harder for your body to process the massive sugar load. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Your blood sugar spikes higher and stays elevated longer, increasing your risk of diabetic coma. The caffeine also triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which signal your liver to dump even more glucose into your bloodstream. This creates a cascade effect where your blood sugar keeps climbing higher and higher, sometimes reaching levels that require emergency medical intervention. But here's the most terrifying part. Energy drinks are specifically marketed to young people, many of whom may have undiagnosed diabetes. Emergency rooms across the country report increasing numbers of young adults arriving in diabetic ketoacidosis after consuming multiple energy drinks. The crash that follows is just as dangerous. When the caffeine and sugar wear off, your blood sugar can plummet dramatically, leading to hypoglycemic episodes that can cause seizures, unconsciousness, and even death. Smoothies seem healthy with all those fruits and vegetables, right? Number 5 exposes the hidden danger lurking in your health drink. At number 5, we have smoothies, the drinks that have fooled millions of health-conscious people, including diabetics, into thinking they're consuming something nutritious when they're actually drinking sugar by the glass. A typical store-bought smoothie contains between 50-80 grams of sugar. That's equivalent to eating 12-16 teaspoons of sugar. Even homemade smoothies can be dangerous because people tend to use multiple fruits, fruit juices, honey, agave, and other sweeteners without realizing how quickly the sugar adds up. The problem with smoothies is similar to fruit juice, but amplified. When you blend fruits, you're breaking down the cellular structure and releasing all the sugars at once. The fiber is still there, but it's been pulverized and can no longer effectively slow down sugar absorption. Your body treats a smoothie more like liquid sugar than whole fruit. Store-bought smoothies are even worse because they often contain added sugars, fruit concentrates, and sweetened yogurts. Many popular smoothie chains serve drinks with more sugar than a large milkshake, but they market them as health food. The health halo effect is particularly dangerous here. Diabetics drink smoothies thinking they're being responsible about their health, often consuming them as meal replacements or post-workout drinks. But instead of nourishing their body, they're causing massive blood sugar spikes that can last for hours. Even green smoothies aren't safe if they contain fruits. Adding spinach or kale doesn't cancel out the sugar from bananas, mangoes, and pineapples. Alcoholic beverages have their own rules for diabetics, but number 4 reveals why sweet cocktails and mixed drinks are particularly treacherous. Number 4 takes us into dangerous territory. Sweet cocktails and mixed drinks. These aren't just bad for diabetics. They're a recipe for disaster that combines multiple threats into one seemingly innocent glass. Sweet cocktails like pina coladas, margaritas, and daiquiris can contain 40-60 grams of sugar per serving, but the alcohol makes everything worse. Alcohol interferes with your liver's ability to regulate blood sugar by blocking gluconeogenesis, your body's backup system for maintaining stable glucose levels. Here's the deadly sequence. First, the sugar from the mixers causes a massive spike in blood glucose. Then, the alcohol prevents your liver from releasing stored glucose when your blood sugar starts to drop. This creates a dangerous pattern of extreme highs followed by potentially life-threatening lows. The timing makes it even more dangerous. Alcohol-induced hypoglycemia can occur 6 to 24 hours after drinking, often while you're sleeping. Many diabetics have gone to bed with normal blood sugar only to slip into a diabetic coma during the night because their liver couldn't respond to dropping glucose levels. Sweet cocktails also impair your judgment and awareness of diabetes symptoms. You might not notice the warning signs of high or low blood sugar because the alcohol is masking them. By the time you realize something's wrong, you could already be in a medical emergency. The social aspect makes this even more dangerous. People tend to drink multiple cocktails over several hours, creating wave after wave of blood sugar chaos. Each drink compounds the problem, making it harder and harder for your body to recover. Coffee seems innocent enough, but number 3 reveals how your daily coffee habit might be slowly killing you. At number 3, we have specialty coffee drinks. Those fancy lattes, frappuccinos, and seasonal beverages that have turned coffee shops into sugar dispensaries. What started as a simple cup of coffee has become a diabetes disaster disguised as a morning ritual. A large flavored latte can contain 35-50 grams of sugar, while those frozen coffee drinks can pack up to 70 grams, more sugar than 2 cans of soda. But diabetics often don't count these as real drinks because they think of them as coffee, not dessert. The caffeine creates a double problem for diabetics. Not only does it increase insulin resistance, making it harder to process all that sugar, but it also triggers the release of stress hormones that raise blood glucose independently. You're getting hit from multiple angles simultaneously. Specialty coffee drinks are particularly insidious because they're part of daily routines. Many diabetics start every day with a sugar bomb, guaranteeing that their blood glucose will be elevated all morning. Over time, this chronic morning spike contributes to long-term complications like nerve damage and cardiovascular disease. The worst part? Most people have no idea how much sugar is in their daily coffee. They see words like vanilla, caramel, or mocha, and don't realize these flavors come from sugar-loaded syrups. A diabetic could be consuming their entire daily sugar allowance before 9 a.m. without even realizing it. The addiction factor is real too. The combination of caffeine and sugar creates powerful cravings that make these drinks incredibly hard to give up, even when diabetics know they're harmful. Iced tea seems refreshing and innocent, but number 2 hides a sweet secret that's fooling millions of diabetics. Number 2 might shock you because we're talking about sweetened iced teas, drinks that many diabetics consider healthier alternatives to soda. This misconception is sending thousands of diabetics into hyperglycemic crisis every single day. A typical 16-ounce bottle of sweetened iced tea contains 32 to 42 grams of sugar, nearly as much as a soda, but with a healthy reputation that makes it seem safe. The tea industry has masterfully marketed these products as natural and refreshing, when they're actually sugar water with a splash of tea. What makes sweetened iced tea particularly dangerous is the serving size deception. While people might hesitate to drink multiple sodas, they'll easily consume 32 to 64 ounces of iced tea throughout the day, thinking it's just flavored water. That could mean 80 to 120 grams of sugar from one beverage source alone. The tea component gives people a false sense of security. They think the antioxidants and natural properties of tea somehow offset the sugar, but your pancreas doesn't care about antioxidants when it's being bombarded with glucose. Sweet tea, popular in the southern United States, is particularly devastating. Some restaurant versions contain up to 22 grams of sugar per 8-ounce serving. That's nearly 3 teaspoons of sugar in less than a cup of liquid. Many diabetics also make the mistake of drinking iced tea when they're thirsty, not realizing that the sugar content will actually make them thirstier, creating a dangerous cycle of consumption that keeps blood glucose elevated for hours. Now, before I reveal the number 1 most dangerous drink that will absolutely shock you, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell because what I'm about to show you could save your life. You might think you know what number 1 is, but I guarantee this will blow your mind. The most dangerous drink for diabetics isn't what you think. It's actually something that most people, including doctors, consider completely safe. Number 1 will absolutely shock you because it's coconut water, the drink that's been marketed as nature's sports drink and the ultimate healthy beverage. This is the most dangerous drink for diabetics, precisely because everyone, including many healthcare professionals, thinks it's completely safe. Here's the devastating truth. Coconut water contains 15-18 grams of natural sugar per 8-ounce serving. But it's not the sugar content that makes it the most dangerous. It's the false sense of security that leads to overconsumption and medical misunderstanding. Coconut water has been so aggressively marketed as a health drink that diabetics consume it freely, often drinking 16 32 ounces at a time without checking their blood sugar. They've been told it's natural electrolytes and better than water, so they don't treat it like the sugary beverage it actually is. The most dangerous aspect is that coconut water is often recommended by well-meaning friends, family members, and even some healthcare providers who don't understand its sugar content. Diabetics trust these recommendations and consume coconut water during illness, after exercise, or as a daily beverage, never suspecting it could be spiking their blood glucose. Unlike other drinks on this list, coconut water doesn't taste very sweet, so people don't associate it with sugar. This leads to a phenomenon where diabetics experience unexplained blood sugar spikes and can't figure out why their diabetes is suddenly harder to control. The natural label is particularly misleading. Natural sugar affects your blood glucose exactly the same way as processed sugar. Your pancreas can't tell the difference between fructose from coconut water and fructose from soda. Many diabetics also drink coconut water when they're dehydrated or feeling unwell, times when their blood sugar may already be unstable. Instead of helping, they're adding fuel to a metabolic fire that could lead to diabetic ketoacidosis. There you have it. The 10 most dangerous drinks for diabetics, with coconut water taking the shocking #1 spot because of how it fools everyone into thinking it's safe. If this video opened your eyes to drinks you didn't know were dangerous, leave a comment below telling me which one surprised you most. And please, share this video with friends and family members who have diabetes. This information could literally save their life. Knowledge is power when it comes to managing diabetes, and together we can help more people avoid these hidden dangers. Don't forget to subscribe for more life-saving diabetes tips, and I'll see you in the next video.